Hello, good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Quantum GK for the month of November. I'm your host, Donna Reyes. So we are a little bit a week early than um, our normal GK, Quantum GK program. Typically, we'll have this on the last Thursday of the month, but with next week being Thanksgiving here in the US, we are doing it a little bit early. And this evening, we have two, not just, oh, hold on. I don't know why that's happening. Right. Okay, sorry about that, guys. So we have two very special guests on Quantum GK tonight. We have Dr. Geraldine Sandoval, or Geri, who found her way to GK, or Gawad Kanina, through her participation in a pro bono seminar for physical and occupational therapists continuing education. After 4 years of volunteer work, she became an official member of the GK family in 2015. Meanwhile, Dr. Regina Gigi Bautista is a clinician whose passion for teaching and helping goes beyond the workplace. She has played an active role in GK fundraising events since 2017. Doctors Geri and Gigi's passion for the work for the poor intensified with an immersion trip to Davao and Marawi last August. Ladies and gentlemen, our friends, please welcome Doctors Geri and Gigi.
Hi, Kamusta?
Okay, baba na ko.
There we go.
Napaka-formal ng aking introduction sa inyo, but I felt like it has to be, I really wanted to introduce you ladies, properly. But of course, I've met you both in Houston. Kailan na ba yun? 3 weeks, maybe?
3 weeks ago, yeah.
3 weeks ago. And, I was chatting with Geri, and medyo maiksi pa, medyo bitin yung kwentuhan natin at that time, about your experience in Marawi when you ladies went there. And so I thought, this will be a great time to share, to expound on the kwento, on the story. Pero this time, hindi lang ako yung would have the privilege of listening to that story, but also, our friends in, GK USA. But okay, before we get into that, I'm pretty sure, our friends here in GK USA want to know, how did you start your work with Gawad Kalinga? How did you start being involved in Gawad Kalinga? And maybe we should start with Gigi first. Is it okay if I called you Gigi and Geri?
Of course.
Okay. So maybe see Gigi first, because I think you came on board first before Geri. Is that right? Or is that...
I'm the newest member of the group.
Oh, you are? Okay.
Yes.
So who brought who? Or you brought her? Oh, so again, maybe we should start. I had it all backwards.
Okay, it's okay. So 2011, Alex, who was actually, he's the area director at that time. We were still having the ambassadorship, yung mga bado, the new kids. And so he asked me if I can do a pro bono continuing education where we can collect the money, like $150 for each physical therapist who's going to join the seminar. And so, if I can teach that. So we ended up kind of just organizing it. And then year by year, it started to, the different ambassadorships, they asked me, can you do it for my kid? Can you do it for my kid the following year? So I've been doing that for 4 years. And then eventually I was just joining them, not being a member. And finally, I ended up being a member. So 2015 is when I started officially being a member. So I continued doing that for the next 2 more years, 2016, 2017. And then Gigi and I worked together at the same hospital. So I invited her because it was always hard to teach by yourself. It's a full day of lecturing and doing lab work. So I finally ended up saying, you know what, I might be able to ask a friend to actually help me out. So I asked Gigi, who's already been teaching some of our residents in our clinic, if she can help me with, with the coursework. And so she started, and we ended up doing several courses here locally in Houston. And then we got invited to be in Brownsville, Texas, which is about 7 hours away from Houston. And that was the time that, she became officially in the van. There were like 15 of us in the van trying to go to Brownsville to teach in Brownsville. Never, little did she know she was already a member by that time. So by peer pressure, she got into the membership.
Parang, parang it just took a natural course for you, to be involved. Well, did you, when Geri approached you, was it, I mean, I'm pretty sure you have, you're pretty busy. I saw your resume too. Well, actually, both of you ladies, right? But was it easy to say yes, or was it something that, teka, napang ko muna ng time, I cannot commit to this? What was your reaction when Geri came to you?
Oh, actually, when she invited, I was excited because I love to teach, so that's easy for me. And then, of course, as anything, it's hard when you're doing juggling a lot of things. But as long as you know your priorities and you know how to do some time management and proper planning, everything is doable. So I enjoyed everything about it. Even up to now, I'm still having fun.
So how often do you guys hold those classes? So ulitin nga natin, so these are classes, these are continuing education classes for physical therapists,
Correct.
or also occupational therapists.
Occupational therapist. Mhm.
Okay. So but how often do you do it? Is it,
So
convenient?
it depends on who asks us, but actually we are busier right now in the Philippines. So we're trying to promote our physical therapy program in the Philippines. Okay, so we give advanced classes in the Philippines. And of course, I have asked her, she's been my partner in crime since 2017. Every time I'm asked to do a lecture, then she goes with me too. So anyway, in the Philippines, I am the director and also the chief examiner for a certification for ortho and manual physical therapy. So it's now being recognized, not just in the Philippines, but outside. So that is a big deal for us, most especially for the physical therapy world, because now you could use your letters. So for instance, GG Bautista, PT, DPT, OCS, FAMPT. So that's the title. The extra titles that you have are now being recognized in different countries. So that is a big deal for us. Okay. And that's what we do.
And to answer your question, I think this year, 2022, we did it about 4 times. We did it separately for Gawad Kalinga, twice here in Houston, and then another one in Brownsville. And then in collaboration with University of the Philippines Alumni Association, we actually split the profits there. Because what we did is that we didn't have a place to actually hold the seminar. And at the time, Ruth Atswara, who's the president of the UP alumni, invited us to do it in their clinic. So it was like a 50-50 type split wherein she held it in her clinic, but pretty much our seminars, we wouldn't be able to do it without the GK family here in Texas. They basically lay down all the logistics for it. All we have to do is basically show up and teach, but they have to do all the request of the continuing education units through the state board. They have to do all the food, the registration, the diploma, the certificate. So, kudos to the whole GK family group. I mean, as I've said, with Seferino, with Juna Morris in there, with Nanny Reyes, with Alex, with Melissa, all these are my classmates from college, and then some of the other ones who are friends and family. We definitely are very grateful that they help us so much that we don't even have to do anything, even food. I mean, they always feed us so well because I guess, and give us the drink so well, it's because we basically just do it for free. So any little, any little details in terms of the seminar, it's actually from the whole GK family. And I had the opportunity to attend the training last 2 weeks ago. Was it 2 weeks ago? Yeah, 2 weekends ago. And I believe that, I was telling Ate Carol, if we can duplicate, if we are successful in this kind of fundraising, maybe some of the other states can duplicate what we're doing. So I think that's going to be one of the things that I think Chicago is actually gonna
Yeah,
start.
I know that for sure, because hi, Leslie, Tikia.
Hi, Leslie.
So Leslie and Ria own a staffing for physical therapists. And I think she said, because of that idea from you guys, she's going to get the appropriate licenses or whatever it's to be able to do that here as well. But let's just also, let's expand on that a little bit. how is Gawad Kalinga benefiting, how is the work of GKUSA benefiting from what you ladies do, teaching and everything?
Well, because it's pro bono for us, so we don't make any money from it. It's whatever we collect really goes back to the Gawad Kalinga. So everything, majority of the food that she was talking about, those were also donated. So basically, everything that we get from every participant goes straight to Gawad Kalinga.
Yeah. And in
That's
lieu of
awesome.
that, yeah, that's the continuing education that is required by the state board. So it's, it's a win-win in any case.
Can you share like how much the fee is and everything, just so like for other regions?
Yeah, it's about 125 to 150. Like early bird is about 125. So if you have about 30 to 50, there was even one time I did one seminar, and there were like almost about 60 people in there, and it was like lecture and lab, and you have to at least practice. And it was really very, at the end of the day, I was very, very, very exhausted. So I kept telling myself, one of these days I'm gonna get one of my friends and colleagues to help teach with me. And when we went to to the Philippines, we were actually teaching at that time, and Ate Carol, found out that we were going to be in Davao at that time, and I was telling Chichi, hey, we're going to go to the Davao beaches over there, to that area, kind of relax and chill. Little did we know that we were going to do some mini immersion to visit the Davao villages, and then she also invited us to do Marawi. So that was what we had. That was September of this year.
And we're going to talk about Marawi in a second here, but I also want to know a little bit more about what you do in the Philippines. So you teach in the Philippines as well, and so how is that? Is that related to GKUSA still, or is that just something? And so whoever wants to, I guess, is that for the benefit of physical therapists or OTs or functional therapists who want to migrate here in?
Correct. If they want to migrate, most especially if they want to migrate, not here in the States, but in the other Asian countries, as well as Canada or Australia, because their license and other additional letters to their name are being accredited. And yes, they do accept those, except here in the States, unfortunately, because the standards is different. Yes.
We just want to uplift, the status of the physical therapists back home. And so they're very grateful for any little continuing education or any knowledge that they are able to get, because we're a little bit more advanced here in the States. So we try to share what we learn to them, and then hopefully they'll be able to, provide some more evidence-based treatments to their patients. So definitely changes that we see here can also be promoted over in the Philippines.
Donna, I have something else to say. So you were talking about the price and how much it costs for a participant. So we said 125. Did you know that I attended that CSM and I paid 750 and I didn't learn anything? And then the AYOM that we attended also was 500 something, and still it is really not hands-on. And so to give you like 125, it is really a big deal, because half of the class is lab on, which hands-on lab assist, so which means we use our hands, there's practical and everything. So you're really going to learn a lot, not just didactic. So which means we just don't lecture and keep lecturing what you get. So it's a whole day affair.
So it's really a combination of theoretical
and practice
and practical, yes,
and practical application. That's awesome.
Some of the continuing education, they don't feed us, but because we have a lot of sponsors. Yeah, so from morning breaks and lunch, and even sometimes dinner, we basically immediately after the seminar, we go out and eat. And that's the best thing, is the camaraderie that goes with the teaching and the process of organizing this stuff. It's really fun.
Who are your students? Are they mostly Filipinos, or are there non-Filipinos also?
Some of them are Filipinos, but we have trickle here and there also that are not Filipinos. So it's a good mix.
Okay, no, I asked because then that's also an opportunity for us to spread the word about Gawad Kalinga to the non-Filipino, community. All right, so I'm really excited for you ladies to talk about Marawi, but let me read some of the there's 3 now. From Seferino Amores, I think this is June, right? Amores. Mabuhay kayo, Geri and Gigi, for all the work you do with Gawad Kalinga. Walang iwanan. And then Nanny Reyes says, nice work, Geri and Gigi. Proud of you both. From Allison. Allison Nepomuceno is our next gen, chairperson, right? So she says, hello, Allison Nepomuceno and Carol. I'm sorry, Carol, I cannot pronounce your last name. I'm going to butcher it. Is it Zizhelski? From GK Next Gen. I just know who you are. I know your face. I met them both. We all met them, right?
Yeah, we met them too.
At the GK conference in Las Vegas. All right, so now I really want to know about the Marawi immersion. So Geri alluded to it a little bit earlier. She said that it was a totally unexpected trip, right? That wasn't something that you ladies planned on. And so I think, no, so tell us, so what happened?
Okay, let me start with this. So this time, that was one of the hardest decisions we've made because of everyone around us. They are so negative about it, about, of course, the siege and everything that's happening. And then the fact that the other decision making that we have to consider is that we cannot even tell our husbands. We cannot even tell our family where we're headed because we are so scared that something could really happen and we don't know how to tell them. And thankfully, we've been convinced. So Kuya Rene Rieta, so good. He's a good mentor as well as Mark Lawrence Cruz, who happens to be our GK keynote speaker. And then, of course, Ate Maricel and Ate Caro, they were so nice in helping us decide also. But anyways, even though that is the hardest decision we've made, we could tell you that it was also the most fulfilling and very rewarding experience that we had because we've learned a lot of things. And can I just say one or two things, misconceptions about it? Okay, so we've talked about it is a scary place, right? Get to find out they're scared of us too, because there's a small place compared to everyone here. So apparently they're protecting themselves from us because there's so many of us that could really attack them that area. So that is one thing about it. And of course, the other one is that they're mostly Muslim and that they hated Catholic and Christians. But when we were there, we welcomed with open arms. We were fed, of course, really nicely. And they were just so nice to us, very grateful, very thankful of everything. They're like, oh my goodness, thank you. Because they think highly of Gawad Kalinga, which is so surprising. And so we had a great time. Yes, and we don't mind going back again.
Hopefully, I was going to ask you that. Would you go back again?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Heartbeat, we will.
But okay, so I know, so you said I want to break this down a little bit. You said that it was a difficult decision, right? Walk us through did Tita Carol call you or did you call? How
Go ahead.
So I think that's right.
So when we got to Davao, we finished our 3 day of teaching. And so at that time, the students said, okay, the local people said, don't go, it's really dangerous. So I went ahead and called, but before that, Marco actually already called me and he said, okay, we're going to come pick you up at 2:00 in the morning because it's going to be about a 6 or 7 hour drive.
How did the invite even come to you guys? Who knew?
It's Ate Carol. Ate Carol arranged everything. We weren't even not sure about what's going on, but Ate Carol, arranged everything. And of course, we can't say no to Ate Carol. So at that time, I called, when we found out that it was dangerous, we finally said, okay, do we really need to go or do we not want to go? So I called Ate Maricel first. And Ate Maricel was so nice, the way that she spoke to instead of, we want to make sure that your experience here in Davao is so nice that if you don't need to go, you don't have to go. But, just pray for it and all those things. And so I said, okay. And then I called Ate Carol. Ate Carol said, just do the Davao villages first. And then just find out how you feel about it. And maybe at the end of the day, you can make that decision. So, we ended up with Kuya Rene Rieta. And he educated us with everything from the Muslim culture to the Muslim religion to the relationship that Gawad Kalinga had built in Marawi. And so going home after the Davao villages, after we visited the Davao villages, we went back to Ate Carol. And finally, Gigi and I said, okay, what do we need to do? So I called Mark again and I asked Mark, seriously, how safe is it? And Mark said, and this one basically resonated the most. And he said, we were not going to invite you if we don't think it is safe. And so I went back to Gigi and I said, Gigi, if we don't do this one, we won't get a chance or the opportunity to actually go this way. So we ended up calling Mark again and said, okay, Mark, we're going. And 2 o'clock in the morning, they picked us up. You know, these are two totally strangers in our life.
Correct.
You've
And we
never
just
met Mark before.
never met
No.
Mark, never met. And Kuya
We never
Rene,
met.
we just met that very day. So they picked us up at 2 o'clock in the morning and we traveled. We got there at 8 o'clock. As soon as we got there, people were having their breakfast and it was a Maranao, typical Maranao breakfast. We visited the schools and the seed program. We ended up with lunch. And then we ended up talking to the officials over there, you know, about the projects. And then we went home.
Correct.
But when you said yes, when you finally called Mark and said, you know, you're going, were you so scared?
Yes, of course, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, so when we were headed there, we were kind of scared, and of course, we prayed. And
Yeah,
then,
Gigi and I were praying in our hotel at that time.
yeah, and then on our way there, I guess we were kind of relaxed in some way because we fell asleep. And then when we went Bukidnon, or is it, and the places that we went, they look so peaceful, they look so
Beautiful.
nice, so serene. And then, of course, you became more relaxed, we slept more. Next thing you know, we were there. So we forgot to be afraid and scared of the place because we were just enjoying the scenery.
Yeah. Yeah. I heard it's, I've never been.
Yeah,
But-
it's beautiful.
Hi, Chrissy Sapala. She's probably watching too. I read her sort of journal, like, you know, like, she wrote an article about her experience over there as well. And, you know, and she said it was really beautiful.
And the most important thing too is the fact that we were able to talk to both the Maranao teachers who were there, and at the same time, the GK volunteers who had been there and their experiences during the siege of Marawi. Because we saw the ruins, and then at the same time, we also saw a different Marawi where they're starting to rebuild everything. So it was just surreal to actually just experience that situation.
So you said that you decided not to tell your husband.
Correct. We told them after the fact,
Yeah.
after when we came back. Oh, this is what we were.
Hey, did they say, are you crazy? You didn't even tell. What if something happened to you there and we don't even know that you were there?
Well, thankfully nothing happened, right? But yes, of course they were asking about stories, and we were telling them. We were just so excited to tell them about the stories, and of course we brought them the durian candies, and all of those things. So we have presents, so they're happy.
So that the durian did it, right? So they
Correct. In Davao, yes.
But yeah, I mean that's really amazing. I was excited when I first heard this story from Geri, because I had a similar experience way back when I was, I think maybe 18 years old. 18, back in college. So my journey with the poor actually started back in college at Miriam College. And it was for social, no, I volunteered for that. My first one was for Sociology 101 thing that we went to Tanay, Rizal, Sierra Madre. We went up. And the second one, I had a great experience then. So then I volunteered to facilitate the immersion for this group, right? Going to Mount Halcon. So on our first stop, we like, it was like kind of on the foot of the mountain. And then we spent the night there. The next day in the morning, our guide said that, okay, there was some crossfire that happened on the pathway going up, right? And then they said that we think it's all, clear now, we should be okay, blah, blah. And they said, but it's really up to you if you want to continue on. And a couple of us girls were all girls. Oh no, there were a couple of guys who were also, from San Beda at that time. And it was like a joint, whatever it was called. And I remember my knees like shaking because I don't know if that happened to you. My knees were literally like shaking because I knew that I was going to make a decision that I wasn't sure was the right decision. Now, remember, I was 18 years old, right?
Yes.
So, but it was just something, right? 18 years old can be, we didn't know what danger was, right? I didn't know what danger meant at that time, but it was just something. And I'm glad you mentioned that you prayed about it and everything. And I did pray about it too. It was just something that it was maybe prayer that gave me peace of mind and assurance that everything was going to be okay.
Correct.
So then after that, I went on to another one, Mount Apple. And same, I not even a scratch, ladies. Like nothing happened to me at all. Like, and not even anyone in our group, you know. And that wasn't Gawad Kalinga. This was way back, way before I was in the 90s when this happened. So, but it was something that, and I also did not tell my mom. So I said, because if I told her she was in Guam at that time, you know, she couldn't really do anything about it anyway, because she's not here.
Yeah.
And I did not want to give her any reason to be worried about me.
Correct.
And children, I probably would not tell this story. Because I'll have a heart to now. Okay, so do you have any children, either of you?
Yes, yeah. We have grown children.
So here's my question to you. If it was your child, right, who went, maybe not a child anymore, maybe about that age, if you were my mom, basically, at that time, and you found out that your daughter, or you know, is going to Malawi, what would you have said? What would you have done?
Well, since it's after the fact, there's nothing I could do anymore. I probably would be asking what has happened and everything. I'll be very excited to figure out and what's going on. Just like right now, the kids doesn't really tell us anymore. They're basically telling us what happened. It's not asking permission. There's no longer like, Mom, can we do this? Because my kids are now 29 and 25, so kind of a little bit older. So they make their own decision making, but definitely I will just go with the flow nowadays. Yes.
Yeah. How about you, Geri? Same?
I have a 31-year-old, and I basically he'll tell me, Mom, I'm over here in Canada skiing, or Mom, I'm over here in somewhere in Yosemite Park, you know, primitively camping. And so it's like, okay. And there was even just one time where he said, do not call me. I'm just gonna drop a pin on a Google Maps, and that's basically where I am. So being an adult, you know, they basically make their own decisions. But if it was most probably a kid, and she would ask, and it's just like, I'll give him or her the opportunity to say, it's going to be your decision, you know, basically you'll be responsible and accountable for the consequences. But sometimes you just have to trust.
Correct. Agree.
You just have to trust your children, and that's
Right.
about it. Yeah, they need your guidance, but definitely their decision to take that leap of a challenge it's their decision. You just have to be very supportive about it. Plus the fact that you just have to trust God. You know, if something bad is going to happen, there's always a purpose for everything.
Yeah.
So that's basically the way I look at things.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what my mom thought as well. When I was going to Davao, she allowed me to go. She actually went with a driver to, you know, bring me to the airport. But she said, just take the plane going and coming back. Which I did not take the plane coming back. I took the boat with the rest of the group coming. But when I asked her now, she said, you had to make a decision for yourself that will define your life, you know, later on. And so I really admire my mom's, you know, courage. And I think what they call that in Tagalog is mapagpalayang pagmamahal. I don't think there's a direct translation in English that would really capture the essence of what that means. But you know, yeah, hi mom.
Tough love.
Yeah, this day it's, you know, it's really, you know, one of the defining moments of my life.
Yeah.
I would be choosing, you know, to be my life path, so to speak. So let's switch gears. That's very inspiring, and I'm sure, you know, our GK family here, GK USA family is having, you know, is you know, we'll say the same, that they're inspired by that story. So we're gonna switch gears here a little bit, because I know, you know, we all saw each other at the GK conference 2 weekends ago. Was that your first conference that you went to?
Yes, that was the first one.
Okay.
Gigi unfortunately couldn't go. It was her birthday at that time.
Oh
so
yeah, you were
she was
there. That's right. Okay,
She was
so maybe
there.
we can fill her in. You know,
Yeah.
what we thought about. What do you think about them?
It was so well organized, and at the same time, I never realized how good the leadership is in GK. all the different programs. I mean, it was very enlightening, and I was telling Gigi that it was quite a very uh, great experience because number one, I met a lot of people. I networked with a lot of people. I've learned that the kindness of all people is basically within the GK family all over the country, and it's national. Great leaders like Kuya Charlie, Kapati, and everybody. I mean, I can't remember all the names, but crazy one is, I think it's Leslie, hi. and Marisha, who came over from Oklahoma and drove from Oklahoma. So I really did meet a lot of people. I learned a lot of all the projects, the training, and how to actually promote GK. At the same time, the different programs that are being promoted. So now I can talk more about GK. I mean, little did we know, when Gigi and I were basically just teaching, we're teaching just because we're teaching. But now that we have the experience of Marawi and Davao on our, on our side, the training that I've had that I'm trying to actually share with Gigi as well too. I mean, it's different. It's very enlightening. It's very empowering at the same time. So, when Seferino actually said, how many Seferino? 50 seed scholars, and I think it's possible, to actually sponsor that, and it's doable. We just need to work hard. We have one full year to actually accomplish the pledge that the GK Texas had informed everybody during that training. So yeah, I think we can make it.
No, I thought everyone was really inspired, and Tito Charlie and and Francis de los Reyes. Thank you for putting that agenda together. He's actually the one who put it all together, and he asked for our input as well. But really, it was him who put that whole agenda together. And unfortunately, he wasn't able to join us on Sunday because he had to fly.
Yeah.
So he was being honored with an award by the UP, University of the Philippines.
And we were well fed.
Yeah. So, and he needed to
so
to receive the award. So, but yeah, thank you for putting your, time and a lot of time and, and thought into that, agenda for our GK conference. And we were sharing with him, because he missed the second day, that everyone was really excited to share their commitments and what their action plans were and things like that. So, and that's exactly the goal of the conference, is that, that based on what the information we gathered and inspiration we received from Luis and Mark and Dan, right? And all of and everyone who contributed as well, is what would we do based on that, based on that we gather, right? Because we can be inspiring each other all day long, but at the end of the day, what are we going to do about it, right? How are we going to move forward and grow our work for the poor, right? And so we were so happy with everyone really just sharing and making bold commitments and all of that. And and at the end of the day, we are going to be working together. So we're very excited to to hear everyone's plans from all the regions. I want to ask you about the GK Hope as well and how that turned out, but let me pause for a little bit. Seferino says, yes, 50 seed scholar.
No pressure, no pressure.
At talagang siya, di ba? Talagang sinigurado pa niya talagang, yep, 50. Yeah. And from Luchi Castor Ford, sayang we missed that convention, GK Alabama. Yeah, because I think we're supposed to be doing it every 2 years. So I don't know if that will change, but the last one we had was 2019, and then obviously we couldn't here because of the pandemic. But that's why we did this year. So I'm not sure if it will change, if that will change, or if it's going to be annually now. I don't know, but stay tuned. I guess it really depends on what the work needs, like what the areas need, right? So we want to be able to support the work in each area, obviously, and if an annual convention would call for it, maybe, and don't quote me, this is just my personal opinion, maybe it's worth looking into to have an annual convention. Okay, well, tell us about the GK Obo. How did that go?
Oh, I think it was wonderful. We had a blast.
Yeah.
And I really don't know what to tell you, but it was just like we had so much fun. And of course, we have our keynote speaker, Mark Lawrence. So it was really inspirational. And of course, showing the old videos for someone like me that's a newbie. So
Yeah.
seeing the old videos and all the ambassadorship programs that's been done through the years, it was kind of nice to see the evolution that's going on, what we've done, and then how many villages have been created because of this. So it was wonderful. I think it was a success. Mhm,
The fun part of it too is all the planning.
mhm.
So way before the gala, the Hope Gala, we've already started planning, and it's always an organized chaos before and after. Like, several months we would plan on it, and then we'll form committees. And then during the night before, that's when the total organized chaos is. Like everybody's just helping each other, trying to put the chair covers, the table covers, trying to make it as beautiful as possible for the Thanksgiving theme that we have, and then the food, of course. And so it's really a bayanihan process, and I just cannot explain the feeling when we're there, because we chit chat, we talk, we eat, we laugh, we tell stories, we reminisce. And there was even one time when one of the couples, it was the 50th birthday of Kuya Nestor, and I wasn't a GK member at the time, and Seferino and some of them said, no, this is GK family, you can crash the party. So I crashed that party. At the time, it was like 8 years ago or 5 years ago. And so little did I know that that was the GK family that was going to be my family for the rest of forever this time. So
Yeah, for the rest of your life.
for the rest of our lives. So it's definitely the before, and then even after the gala, we have to break down and clean and start basically reorganizing the place again. So it's a lot of work, but it's all worth the work.
Behind the scene is the hardest part. They always just see the end product, but other than that, it still is worthwhile. And it's because I think the cause that we're doing, I guess everyone's so driven to help. And so we want to make sure that it is going to be successful. So it's kind of nice for all of us. Yes.
So did you guys have it at the PICC also? That
Yes, we did that. Yes.
And was it how's the attendance? Was it packed?
Well, compared to last year, it's not as much, but because of course there's the Piolo and
we have several conflicts.
There's so many conflicts, but it still turned out to be well attended.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Sponsorships through ads and the like. So yeah.
Well, I'm personally, I am a big proponent of events, right? Of big events. And I know there's pros and cons to it. Anytime you're mounting a big event, you think about the cost, right? Having it at the PICC, it's relatively, it's more affordable than like having it at a hotel or something like that, right? Because just it's just more costly that way, especially here in Chicago. When we mount an event like that and you go to a hotel where they have unionized employees that you have to hire, right? And the cost just goes up, and it's ridiculous, right? But at the end of the day, as long as I think we can manage the cost, I think having big events like that really help get the word out about who Gawad Kalinga is, what we do, and things like that. And we have our work cut out for us, because there's still a lot of people who don't even know about Gawad, right? And so and we're talking about 4 million Filipinos, right, in the entire US. So I don't think we've really reached out to, not, we barely scratched the surface, so to speak, right? So I think those events really help, get the word out, about what we do. All right, well, and so I've learned a lot so much from you ladies, and I'm sure, our viewers here have learned as well. One, using your own, your talent and your expertise, right, to it's such a creative way to, to raise funds and actually even raise awareness, right? For Gawad Kalinga. I hope that maybe the students who come to your classes would eventually also become members, or like maybe regular donors, right? Even if it's a $5 per month, maybe they can sign up with that monthly donation thing, maybe an idea that you can, obviously we're not going to force them to, but if there's a way to, give them a flyer, or like those, what is it called? Like the one with a QR,
The QR code, yeah.
sign up, right, for it, $5, $10 a month, or whatever is comfortable for them, that is already growing our work, not only in terms of, fundraising, but really friend raising, right? So and that can apply not only to like you who teach, physical, continuing education for physical therapists and occupational therapists, but for example, like I do financial coaching, right? So I've been asked, many times, like every time I sit down with a client, they ask me if I charge anything for, how much I charge. They assume that I charge for consulting, and I don't. I just don't, because I figure if they're going to end up getting a financial solution from me, I'm already making money from there, right? So I don't charge, but some financial coaches do. So now it just gave me an idea because of you.
Yeah.
So when they ask me, I would just say I don't charge, but I would really appreciate it if you could donate to my chair.
I
Right?
guess it's a good idea.
Right? Everyone out there, financial advisors. What else? Like maybe
Nursing, nurses.
nurses, right? Or maybe they can dedicate like 1 hour of their whatever, like work or something like that. I don't know. Whatever it is that you do, if you want to make a difference and want to give back, right? That's something that everyone can do. Like a makeup artist, or teaches dancing, like a dance instructor or a DJ, something like that, right?
Yeah, the dancing type thing, we actually have done that in the past as well. We have a couple of pasayaw, and so we get teachers, we get instructors to teach the class. So the class would have like an instructor, and then immediately after would be the dance. So again, we can collect like $25 for the dance and the dinner.
Right. We've actually done it online too with a yoga instructor.
Oh yeah, we did that too last January.
Oh, there you go. Right. So even if you don't do, obviously if that's your livelihood, you can't do it all the time for every for every class. But then if you also want to just maybe plant some seeds of goodwill, right? Maybe that's something that it might also be good for your PR, for your marketing, right? You do it like right around the holidays, something like that, your way of giving back. And that just, expands your network, right? Yeah. Those people who enjoyed, attending that yoga class or the dancing class might want to come back. And then maybe that's how you can.
Yeah. And then we usually just say minimum donation of $25, because during the yoga Zoom class that we did, when I taught it, I mean, there was a couple of people that actually gave more than the $25. They were giving like about $200 to $300 just for the. So
that's amazing.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So people have good hearts, people have good hearts.
Right. They have fun, and at the same time they're giving, they're able to give back.
Mm-hmm.
Any final message, any final thoughts that you'd like to share to our family here?
Oh, I don't know. I just do hope that we would continue to have more people to join us, because the more volunteers or the more people to, I guess networking is a big deal in order for us to really help more people. And I just do hope globally. I know we have US, we have a lot of Gawad Kalinga here and some spots in other parts of the world. I just do hope that we could double it, so we could hopefully help the Filipino people, our kababayan, a lot sooner and better. And I'm excited about this marketing and the manufacturing that they're doing. Mark was talking about the ube and about the potatoes. And apparently it's going to be marketed here. And I assume that is the Seafood City, which is in California. Wouldn't it be nice if it's going to be sold not just in California, but other parts of the country? And then that way, the money that's going to go back to the Philippines, we could have bigger manufacturing facilities, more schools for the kids. And I just do hope, I'm just so excited with everything that's going on. I just do hope we could push through with this. And I don't know how to make it happen faster than I'm anticipating in my head, because I guess immersion is really a big deal for me. Now that I've been, all I could think of is what can we do to help those people? And I'm excited about this. So thank you.
For me, I know our recipients for our funds are always grateful, but I believe that for me, myself personally, I'm grateful for all these opportunities and just the joy of giving, because that's pretty much a reward in itself already. And so just for everyone, you know, Gigi and I, we really don't have that much in terms of possessions, but we have the talent that God gave us. So kind of just use it for, you know, for something good. And we just kind of basically are content that we are actually providing that service to our kababayan, and you know, hoping to actually have that mutual goal of ending poverty in our area. So that's basically the message that I want everybody to have, is the fact that each and every one of us has a talent, has a gift. You just have to be creative and initiate where you can use that gift.
Well, we definitely learned a lot from both of you. You know, where that Gawad Kalinga is really not a separate thing in our life. Like, it can be integrated in what we are already doing, right?
Mhm.
In your case, you know, you teach, right? You know, using your own expertise and talents and skills, right? So for everyone, you know, we can integrate Gawad Kalinga into our lives, right? It's really a way of life. It's really, you know, it's not just, it is an organization, obviously, like literally, right? But Gawad Kalinga, you know, true to what it means, right, to give care, is really a way of life. And you know, what a great idea to integrate it into what we are already doing. It doesn't have to be a separate thing. Finally, Susan said, so proud to both of both of you. Great job. Severina says, Gigi and Geri are our new GK storytellers. Helen Christ, more power to both and to GK. On that note, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Gigi and Geri, for joining us this evening. And everyone, thank you for joining us and in this kwentuhan, in our monthly kwentuhan. Have a happy and meaningful Thanksgiving to all of you. And join us in another episode of Kwentong GK next month. It's probably not going to be around Christmas time. We haven't figured out yet what date that's going to be. But in the meantime, be blessed and be a blessing to others. Good night.
Good night. Thank
you.
you.